Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 197. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You drop a follow over there, you'll get notified when we go live, so you can join in the fun and conversation with us. But if you can't catch it live, that is A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support, likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, reviews, whatever it is. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. So yeah, welcome back for another episode today. We got two different topics to talk about. One cinematic, one sports related. We'll have some fun with it. So let's go into the movies. Let's go into the spooks. I know it's the holiday season, but I'm late with everything as always. So, let's talk about that Five Nights at Freddy movie. Oh, boy. What do you mean, oh boy? Peanut Gallery already getting on my case. So, a little bit of a backstory for this. So, as of recording, we're leading into the holidays, so probably on our holiday break now. Hope you had a good holiday if you're listening to this live. This movie was announced a while ago. It's coming out to Peacock, Blumhouse. I think that's what it's called. They're making it. It's going to be in theaters. It's going to be on Peacock for those subscribers. And I was like, you know what? Out of a morbid curiosity, because that's the best descriptor I can give for it. I'm like, I've played a little bit of the games. I'm not about the jump scares. I've only played the first one, and I was shitting my pants the entire time. You know, I know a little bit about these games, but I have that morbid curiosity of like, how is this movie going to be? Is this going to be good? Is this going to be bad? What is this? So anyways, release is over October, right? Makes sense. Spooky season. Good for them. I didn't watch it. Whoops. Never actually sat down and committed the time to it. Now we get into the backstory of why I did watch it. So as of recording is the weekend. Yesterday. I'm sleeping. Or rather attempting to sleep. Because someone, a small someone, by the name of Artemis, decided it's 5 a.m., I'm going to cause all the chaos. Artemis just decided, meow, 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 run into the tree, meow, meow, go over here, meow, meow, meow. He was just on a rampage tirade for no reason. Didn't seem like anything was calming down. You'd pet him for a little while, you'd set him on the bed, be like, hey, we need to go to bed. Like, nothing seemed to calm this maniac down. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm awake now. So I take him, go out to the couch. I sit down. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to sit here. We're going to watch something. And I was like, you know what? Throw on Peacock. Let's look for something. Five Nights at Freddy's is there. I was like, oh, sure. Why not? I'll throw it on. I'm just killing some time. If I fall asleep, I fall asleep. You know, no big deal. So that's my little backstory. I could not sleep. I was woken up in the morning and decided, all right, I'm going to give this a try. So, yesterday morning, that was when it happened. So, I'm not going to do a full rundown on the movie. Don't worry about that. I will give a fair spoiler warning. Probably not going to go too deep into detail, on anything. But I just want this to be no holds bars. Like, if I throw something out there, it is what it is. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, now's your time to leave. I'll see you in a few. Okay, anyways. So, as I talked about, the games are notorious for the jump scares, right? You're, at least in the first, well, throughout the whole games, you're sitting in a static position, at least the main title games. You're sitting here, you're monitoring cameras in the pizzeria, and then there's a door on either side of you, right? And you're just the security guard. You're making sure that the puppets don't come kill you. That's essentially the whole mechanic. There's slight variations throughout the games. Like, I believe one, you're at your house and like they're in your bedroom. I don't know the lore of that, but there's that. So it's a puzzle game if you're going to break it down to its non-spooky mechanics. You're in the chair, you're monitoring these cameras. If one puppet moves, okay, I need to do this to stop it and save myself. If this puppet does this, I need to do this, so on and so forth. And progressively over the 5 nights, it gets harder because more puppets are doing more actions, you have to do it in more rapid, quick succession, and you have to monitor a lot of things all at once. So that's the whole thing. If you're going to break it down to its base mechanics, it's a puzzle game. Figure it out. It's just that extra layer of tension of like, you have no time to figure it out. It's a lot of trial and error, as we've talked about with many games. So my experience with games is only with the first one, whether it is playing it on PC or being crazy enough to play it in VR. God, that VR experience. That's my experience with the first game. I've dipped my toes into watching other players and content creators play, I believe, the 2nd through 4th? I don't know how many titles there are. This is where the FNAF crew is going to be like, oh my god, you don't know the full lore? Don't worry, buckle in. You're going to be here for a while. So there's different mechanics that they've obviously evolved, or slight changes and tweaks they've made over these titles. They've added different puppets, they've added different mechanics where there's either sound you can play, or there's vents, or whatever. There's things you can hide in yourself away from the puppets with. Whatever. The animatronics. I keep calling them puppets. The animatronics. So that's my experience. I never beat the first game. I think the farthest I made it was night 3. I know. Sucks. And the VR experience, let's not even talk about it. That was probably night 2 was the most. And that's even just me sitting in the chair being like, I'm in this world, quote unquote, you know, that additional layer of immersion. Not great. Well, great in like, oh my god, it's working. Not great in terms of how I'm progressing through the game. Cool experiences. I know it's not for everybody. Like I said, it's very jump scare heavy. And, you know, that's where a lot of the negative criticism has come from of like, that's a silly game. It's a kid's game, whatever it is. I get it. With the movie, I was curious how they were going to take, obviously, the game and then make it into the movie. Now, me, being guy on the outside, I was pretty sure there's no real story to Five Nights. And this is where the Five Nights audience, like if you're a fan, this is where you're going to have to help me in the comments. I don't think this has ever been a thing. And if it has, it's never been prevalent. But what they tell in the movie, that story, that lore, the movie's, let's put this out there. The movie's a solid, okay movie. It's not, oh my god, this was amazing, I need to rewatch this every year. It was a godsend of an experience. And it's not awful of like, that was the stupidest thing I spent an hour 40 minutes watching. This was atrocious, blah, blah, blah. It hits that nice middle ground where, in my experience, I liked the story and lore that we were telling here. Some things a little cheesy, some things a little hokey, you know. But overall, the experience was like, you know what? All right. I enjoyed my experience watching that. I do not regret that hour and 40, minus the sleep I lost. Not from scares. I enjoyed what they were telling here. And if this story is involved in the games, I'd be intrigued to learn more about that story. Doesn't mean I'm going to go play the games because I suck at them and I don't want to be scared. But that's something I'd be like, oh, maybe I should put a little research into this and at least see what's going on. That kind of thing. So the story they told in the movie, I enjoyed. Like I said, if it's prevalent in the game, cool. If it's not, I think this was a nice thing that they created to take this element we do know of the animatronics, the scares, the fears, whatever it is, and put this narrative behind it. So in the trailer, they sell it like the game. They do a lot of jump scares. They build up the tension with the animatronics. They want the audience to feel that, right? In the movie itself, there are jump scares, but there's only, I'd say, a handful. I'd say you see a decent amount of them in the trailer, to be honest. And nothing was like, egregious to the fact where I felt frightened after. It was like, you knew it was coming. There it is. It's done. Or it's a quick, haha, okay, we're good. So that I appreciate. It wasn't just jump, 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 jump with no substance. It was a little bit of tension. The jumps were there, but it was focusing on the narrative. That's a sign, thumbs up for me. That was good. I enjoyed that. So the story they were telling, or that they did tell, they gave the security guard a background, a reason for what he's doing. He's down on his luck. He's hopping job to job, goes to this job. You learn backstory about the security guard where he's living with his little sister. He's the guardian in this case. And ages ago, when he was a child, they also had a brother, the middle child. Unfortunately, that middle child was abducted. He saw it happen. He didn't see who did it or whatever. He just saw the brother being taken away in the car with his brother kind of peering back at him, hoping for help, but not receiving it. And he feels guilty about this experience. Throughout this movie, you learn that that Freddy's was popular. It was a big, destination place for kids to go. They had fun, all that stuff. Unfortunately, child abduction started happening there. And you learn a little bit more about, they're like, we don't know what happened to these kids. Throughout the story, you learn that. And you kind of follow the security guard and paralleling his anxiety and trying to do the right thing, because obviously he's experienced this firsthand, not with the with the Freddy's Fazbear's experience, but with his own separate experience at the park, his brother being taken. He now feels this bond here, or has a strong motivation, I guess you could say, to something's going on here. So at the point of the movie where he becomes the security guard, place has been shut down for 15, 20 years after this whole incident has happened. Apparently the owner's just nostalgic. They don't tear it down. They just need somebody to watch over the place. So he's there. Nothing happens for a little while, similar to the game. But the animatronics are alive. And the story they tell here is they tell kind of the two different stories, I would say. They do the security guard stuff of his family. There's some issues in terms of the little sister of legal guardianship, who, other relatives don't think the brother is responsible enough and they want to take him away. So you have that plot A. And then plot B is the stuff that's happening with the pizzeria. Why are the animatronics the way they are? What spooks are going on here, right? So throughout the movie, you will see the animatronics move around. I think they look great. They are very violent at times. This is a PG-13 movie, so you're not going to see a lot of violence. You will see some blood. You're going to see some attacks, but it's not uber gory. It's not R, so there's nothing like that. You might see some blood, anything from there. But you will see them lash out against some people. You eventually learn that the animatronics are alive and they're being controlled by another person. Top person, okay? The animatronics are only alive because the kids who were abducted in the 80s, their souls are in the animatronics. Okay? I know, weird. But anyways, so there's that link there. It's the kids. So the kids are in these animatronics and they are listening to this higher being that is controlling them. And the security guard has to figure this out. He brings his sister eventually to work with him just because of babysitter issues. And she forms a bond with the animatronics because they're just kids. They're like, oh, we want to be friends. Eventually, the animatronics are like, hey, we really want you to be one of us, and try and make her into an animatronic. And then it's like, uh-oh, tension. Okay? And then the brother's like, I need to save the day. eventually you learn about this higher power. And it's not a higher power, but the guy in charge. The guy in charge is the abductor, is the guy from the 80s who was snatching these kids. He's manipulated it to where the kids don't have much of a memory of all this. So he kind of becomes this father figure to them because they don't know better. And it becomes this plot where the security guard and his sister have to reveal to them, like, hey, this guy's a piece of shit. Eventually, they do that. The animatronics are like, oh my God, he's the piece of crap. And they turn on him, and then yay, victory party, right? That's pretty much the summation of the movie without all the mini details. There's other stuff I left out. I think it's worth a watch, but, whatever. I thought it was cool. I thought it was nice. You took different aspects of the game. You had your different puppets, or I keep calling them puppets, and I don't know why. I'm so sorry. You had the different animatronics in there. You had Freddy. You had Bonnie. You had Chica. You had Foxy. You had the little cupcake guy. Don't know his name. You had those guys. You had Balloon Guy, who I think is in the later iterations of the game. He's just kind of there for jump scare purposes. There was a post-credit scene with him. Is there going to be a second one of these movies? If so, I don't know why. Unless the puppets are like, we're going to get a revenge and lash out against people. Now I'm just speculating. But he's in there. And then they tie in this yellow rabbit. The yellow rabbit is revealed to be this father figure higher up. Where back in the day, the guy was in this bunny suit, a mascot. And then he was snatching the kids. So, to my knowledge, this yellow bunny has only just been kind of a character on the side. Just another another animatronic. Or like a sub thing or a side thing. Because I do remember seeing imagery of him, whether it was a jump scare moment or something. But, yeah, I'm curious if this abduction storyline or lore was in the games. Like I said, that involves me doing some research. If it was, that's cool. Because to me, like I said, the games have always just been, it's this silly thing, you get jump scared. But if there was a story to it, hey, good on them. Good on them. It's not just this spin the wheel type thing, make something scary. I don't know. Jeff does say in chat, plotting the games is like plotting a Souls game. It's there, but there's no cutscenes or info dumps. Exactly. It's one of those things you got to search for or really pay attention to, and then kind of like Charlie Day it, like put all the strings on the board, like this connects to this and blah, blah, blah. Like, I guess I do appreciate that a little bit, that you kind of have to think about it and put the work into it. But, I don't know, it would have been a little bit more enticing. Like, if they had built this game like a Resident Evil, and I'm only going to akin it to a Resident Evil because that's obviously a bigger horror franchise, more mainstream. If they had built it a little bit more where you would get this information while also doing the security guard stuff, I think I might be a little bit more inclined to play it. Instead of just static position, I don't know what's going on, and I feel this is just like a survive game, if that makes sense. Like, I still wouldn't be a great, fan of the jump scare stuff, but if it was a little bit more narrative based, I think that could work. And I don't know how they could redesign it. They're probably not going to redesign it and make a remake. Why would they? But if the initial game was based that way, where it was more a la Resident Evil, or I don't know, Alan Wake doesn't seem like the right thing, but hopefully you understand my point. If it was more built like a full game, sounds like a cheap thing too, but built like a game with the narrative more prevalent and being a story driven or a game driving element than just you're here, don't get scared. I think that would make it more enticing to a wider audience. But then again, it's blown up. It's done well enough to have numerous sequels and a movie. Who cares? Who cares? What does it matter to them? But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. like I said, it's not anything I'm going to be like racing to rewatch or anything, but I was pleasantly surprised. The bar was very low. I was happy I wasn't jumping every 5 seconds. I liked the narrative. It wasn't anything, to write home about. It was that solid, okay movie. I'd say if you even had an inkling of interest in it, give it a try. You got an hour 40 free? Sure, jump into it. I know I just told you pretty much most of the story, but there's stuff I didn't tell you, so, whatever. But I give it a try. I jump into it. It's fun. Yeah, my Five Nights experience, at least in terms of the movie. Glad I watched it. So let's move on over to topic 2. Let's talk some sports. More like let's talk some wrestling. Of course we're talking wrestling. It's the podcast. What are you talking about? We're going to talk about the Royal Rumble. I know we're a little early, but the Royal Rumble is approaching towards the end of January. So I wanted to do a little bit of predictions of who's going to be in the Rumble. Who do I want in there? We got always the fun times of guessing because it is just that time. 30 entrants, not all of them get entry or shown off. Who's going to be the surprises, stuff like that. So just want to talk about the Rumble predictions, what I think is going to go down, all that fun stuff. So let's talk about what we do know as of recording. Once again, we're recording ahead of time, so maybe there will be a bunch more announced, and I'll be like, well, shit, that's wrong. Let's talk about what we do know ahead of time and just get that out of the way. So obviously, men's and women's Rumbles. Duh, that's happening. In terms of title pictures, we don't have anything rock hard set in stone. Rock hard set. What are words? Set in stone. It seems like we're building towards Orton versus Roman Reigns. Going to do that. Seth might go against Drew. Maybe we're going to continue this storyline that we're kind of setting up. We do have Cody Rhodes in the Rumble. We do have CM Punk in the Rumble. I believe on Friday Night SmackDown, Bayley said she was going to be in the Women's Rumble. I could be wrong there. So we have a few things set up. We also have the Cody Shinsuke story. We've got some tension there. We have some tension with the returning AJ Styles and LA Knight. Yeah, maybe they're going to have something or at least meet up and smack each other in the Rumble a little bit. It seems like Logan Paul's going to defend his title against whoever wins this U.S. Open tournament. Gunther's doing his IC title stuff on Raw. But we did have hints of Kofi, Ricochet, and Chad Gable doing something to see who's next in line. Will there be a fatal four-way at the Rumble, or will it just be Gunther's in the Rumble and we get to revisit him and Cody from last year? I don't know. So we got a few seeds planted here. Now, on the negative side of things, let's talk about things that aren't going to happen. Well, we had obviously a few releases this past year, so we got some people who aren't going to make it or aren't going to be included in the Rumble. But also injuries, unfortunately, have gotten in the way. So from the NXT side of things, Wesley is out of competition. He's out for was it a year? I don't recall. He's out for a while with some back injury, having some pain in his legs. And speaking of pain in the legs, Charlotte is legit hurt and is out for 9 months with a torn ACL. So that's not great. That's going to be a big hit, especially going into Mania season. I know I'm not Charlotte's number one fan, but seemed like they were going to build maybe her and Jade Cargill, or obviously she was going to be in the picture somewhere just because of her name value, let's say, and what she can bring to the table. So we got those hiccups there. In terms of winners, before we start talking about participants, who do I think is going to win the Rumble? Well, with the addition of CM Punk, things get a little, how do we say it, interesting, shaky. I don't think he comes in and just, I hope he didn't just come in and then shake up everything. I think they would stick to the plan. Triple H and those guys have been telling a long narrative storyline with the Bloodline and Cody and Roman Reigns. I don't think they would just be like, oh, Cody or CM Punk's back, and just dump that over to the side. I think we would maintain that, keep that story going there. It seems like they're going to build towards Punk and Seth at Mania. Does that mean Punk wins the Rumble? I would only like Punk winning the Rumble for one reason. Because of the surprise factor. Right now, my thought is Cody's winning the Rumble. Cody has to win the Rumble. That's how he gets back to Roman. With them being on opposite brands, he can pick whatever champion he wants. He's going to go after Ilya Dragunov in NXT. No, that's a lie. This is the easiest way to get plot A or point A to connect to point B. Boom. Go back at WrestleMania, do the rematch, have him finish the story, right? It's the most obvious thing. Now, that's where I'm like, dreading this Rumble. Maybe not dreading. Dreading sounds very dramatic. I like being dramatic. As the thing I'm not looking forward to this Rumble is Cody. Not because I don't like Cody, not because I don't want to see him finish the story. It's just predictable. It's like last year's Rumble. Last year's Rumble was good and enjoyable, but we're all like, where's Cody? Yep. Oh, he's 30? Okay, well, Cody's got this thing. We have this just Cody wins here. It like I said, dramatic. I'm being dramatic. It just takes away the whole experience. Now, they have a lot of seeds because they're cooking. They have a lot of seeds and things going on at the same time in terms of storylines that we can build upon in this Rumble. And I appreciate that because that's obviously... We've done that in the past with Rumbles. Like, oh, this is setting up this. Or this is a continuation of this storyline. I like those aspects. Those seeds are being planted now. We're going to harvest them at the Rumble. We're going to continue these stories. With Cody just being the winner, the suspense mystery factor is out of it. And that's where it's only like, yeah. So if Punk were to win, it's a shakeup. It's different. It's like, whoa. Now I know. We've talked about Punk on this channel a few times. When we've dipped into the wrestling conversation, I know Punk has his fans. Punk has his haters. Punk has his middle grounders. Like, I'm a little bit more middle ground. I'm still not happy with, like, how things went in AEW backstage-wise. But I'm like, hey, I'm happy he's back. Maybe that's just me being a selfish WWE fan. But like, haha, we got him. In a way. But I understand... where if Punk were to win this, then it's just like, fuck, now he's here, and he's done that. He could just go to Mania and fight Seth if Cody's doing the Roman thing. Like, Punk's already on Raw. You don't need him to win the Rumble to then challenge Seth. You can shenanigans your way into that, whether it's an Elimination Chamber or something else, right? And we've already had those seeds planted in between those two of like, I hate you, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. So, I think the obvious answer is Cody wins this. Could it become those two in Final Two? I know ages ago people were talking about Cody Gunther being Final Two, akin to last year, but now Gunther's in later, maybe as the 30 spot, tension there. I don't know. I think those are our two front runners of winners, right? Cody's probably going to win it. It just is sad because, like I said, then it takes away the mystery element in terms of the men's Rumble. It's just like, all right, it's a foregone conclusion. Cody wins it. We're just here to kill an hour, right? Who do I want to see in the men's Rumble? So, like I said, we have some seeds planted. AJ Styles, LA Knight, we're all. Orton's not in it. He'll be in the world title picture. We could see a Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso face-off. We could see that. We got Owens going against, some people here, but if Kevin Owens wins the U.S. title thing, he'll be against Logan Paul, so that doesn't really add up. Who do we see make an appearance on the men's side? In terms of wrestlers making their returns, I think Braun Strowman is a high probability. He's been out for a while. I believe he had neck surgery. But he's going around. He's doing the kind of pressers and whatnot. I know he wants to return and try and do his part to respect Bray Wyatt and his passing this year and do kind of like an homage or dedicate this run to him. So I think Braun is a safe bet in terms of he'll be in it. Obviously, AJ Styles making his return after a vacation. Let's see who else is probable as I scroll through here. All right, I'm just elephant in the room. Big E. I called for Big E to return last year. Didn't happen. I'd love for Big E to make a return here. However, I'm not going to get my hopes up. It seems like E's injury maybe a little bit more serious than we thought. Like, he's fine. He's able to do everything outside of wrestling. Like, it seems like he's living a happy life. That's the important thing. That's number one. It's a heartbreaker, you know? I want him back in here. I selfishly want him back on TV. But I'd rather, obviously, he's happy and healthy. If he keeps doing the up, down, down stuff occasionally, those appearances just warm my heart. Anywhere he pops up is great because he brings that good energy, is a good guy, or seems like a good guy. So if he can't hop back in, it's just more of like, that's a shame, you know? Obviously, these things happen. It is what it is. I just don't want it to be over, but that's selfish once again. So do your thing. I'd love for E to be back more on television regularly, but I know it's always going to be a thing, at least from the fans' eyes. I mean, you can see me doing it right now, and he's not even on TV. I'm like, oh, when's E coming back? Oh, he's doing this? Oh, he's doing that? Like, we gotta learn to let it go, but we can't, damn it. So, doubtful, but it could happen, but doubtful. All right, we talked about Braun. Scroll. Anybody else that's catching my attention? At least on the current roster. We haven't talked about obviously the big surprises, if any. I don't think we'll see any GM shenanigans in here. Aldis is still obviously new to the SmackDown GM role, so I don't think he'd make an in-ring appearance just yet, if ever he's going to wrestle for WWE. And same with Pierce. Like, obviously, he hasn't done anything for this longest time, so I don't think he's going to jump the shark and go in there as well. I don't think we have a Viking Raider return. Eric just went under his surgery recently, so that is probably not happening. There's a chance of Booker T, but they got him last year with being in Texas, so he got his hometown pop there, which once again may allude to our Philadelphia friends later on for surprises. No, Philadelphia's Mania. This is Florida. My bad. Tampa, Florida, so never mind. Scratch that. I don't know if we'll see any of the OG, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows. They've been kind of MIA, just picking up that paycheck. Good for them. Logan Paul's an iffy just because if he's defending his title or not. Not a lot of people calling out to me in terms of the guys in the current roster. I know I haven't talked about NXT surprises yet. Just trying to think main roster folks. Oh, Sami Zayn. I think he's a high probability. You set up this storyline with Drew. Now, that's where things get a little shaky in terms of, like, what happens with Seth. If Seth and Drew fight, I think that's less of a probability of Sami being in the Rumble. Now, the reason I would put it as a less probability is you have this storyline building with Drew, right? Drew is lashing out. He's taking out people that have wronged him or are, forgiving Jay and the bloodline for what they've done, or at least Jay, when Drew's seeking justice, but he's being painted as the bad guy. Drew lashed out when we were at Raw, beats up Sami, takes him out, causes a knee injury. The knee injury is kayfabe. He's taking time off. Well-deserved. If Drew's in the Rumble, I think this is a smart time to bring back Sami because you already have these seeds planted to them. They can brawl in the Rumble. Sami can throw him out, or Drew could even throw out Sami. You have that mix of story elements going on throughout the Rumble. So Sami's a maybe. I would lean more towards a yes if Drew is in the Rumble. I would lean more towards no if Drew is going for title. That's my opinion there. No. Shane McMahon. Nope. No, thank you. Sheamus hasn't returned yet, right? Yeah. I don't know if he was out with injury or just taking some time off, but Sheamus could be a good one for a likely return. Dun 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 dun. You know who I'd like to make a return, or this would be a weird one? Wade Barrett. You had him as DLC in 2K23. He's an announcer now. I know, I get it. But that could be a fun one-off. Just throw him in there, have some fun with that. Yeah, that's it for the main roster, guys. Okay, so let's talk about surprises. Now, contracts. There's a lot of people, a lot of news going on of like people's contracts going out with companies, people re-signing, people going to other companies. We had recently Will Ospreay was a big question mark of where he's going, but he signed All Elite. Sad face. No, he's going to do great stuff over there. But there's another big name whose contract is coming up soon. Now, I don't know specifics, so if it's after the Rumble, my bad. But one Rainmaker, Mr. Okada, he's on the free agent list. Apparently, he's doing a show with Impact. I don't know when that show with Impact is, so once again, apologize. But he's on the table. That could be interesting. I've heard obviously a lot of great things about Rainmaker. I haven't, I've only seen one match. And that was the initial All In. Sorry, New Japan All Wrestling. Okada. I'm trying to see if I can see. Kazuchika Okada. When does his contract end? Set to become a free agent in 2024. Okay, so it's the new year, but it doesn't say specifically. So there's a chance. I don't know. There's a chance. There's always a chance. Never say never. He has no history with WWE. He's probably got history with Nakamura. So, depending on where this Cody storyline goes, if Nakamura and Cody wrap up their stuff, maybe Okada makes an appearance, does something with Shinsuke, could set up a program for Mania there. Maybe? I don't know. But yeah, it's one of those big names that it's a big question mark. It's one of those ones over the years, like, oh, Kenny Omega's going to be in the Rumble. Oh, Jay White's going to be in the Rumble. I think AJ was the only one where it actually happened. AJ Styles. Don't get me wrong. Awesome. I don't know. I just don't know the likelihood of it. That's like the supreme mystery. And I'm not sure if I'm excited about it or if I'm just like, nothing against him. It's just like the odds of it happening are in that flux. So I don't know if I should get excited and then just be like, it didn't happen, He's probably the big one that I can think of in terms of wrestling free agents on the male side of things. Because I think, obviously, Impact's going through their rebrand back to TNA soon. And I think they've been re-signing a lot of their talents and signing new talents. Like, I know Kushida's been signed there. Trent Seven's been signed there. And that's great. I don't know if any of the main players are losing contracts there. Like, I believe Eddie Edwards re-signed. He was probably the biggest name I can think of. So I'm not sure. I don't know when Josh Alexander's a free agent. I feel like he's probably locked in for a while. Yeah. Do we see any of the releases make a return? That's a tough one. I mean, Dolph would be great. Dolph would be fun. But I'm not sure. Looks like Willie Mack is not signed anywhere. You got the newbies. Like, more rookie-esque people that I don't know, like on the independent circuit. But I don't know if anybody would make a big enough splash, for the Rumble of like, oh my God, people know them. I know Rumble tends to be more the hardcore people. So that's how they're able to get these exciting pops. But we'll have to see. Cardona's name's thrown around for a while just because he's blown up on the independent circuit and done well for himself since his release. Obviously, Chelsea Green is over in WWE. So there's always a chance, but I don't know. I know he's been a name that's thrown out there for a while. But yeah, I think Okada's the only name I can really think of in terms of outside for the men's side of things who could make an appearance or would be on my radar of like, yeah, I want them to show up. Don't have Brock show up, please. All right, let's talk about the ladies. So, like I said, I believe Bayley's the only one to call herself actually in this thing. So we got a lot of free roam or free game to play around with in terms of who's going to be in there. We have some stories set up, obviously with Damage Control against the Good Guy Squad of Bianca, Shotzi, Mia Yim, Zelina Vega, like those kinds of folks. Charlotte, we talked about her unfortunate the timing of her injury. That's too bad. I didn't talk about any NXT for the men. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's weird because they've already been kind of mixing in NXT talent a little bit here and there. Like, obviously, Dragon Lee's been on SmackDown a lot now. He's NXT champion, or rather the North American champion. I don't think you have Stax or Tony D pop up there. Wes would have been one of my bigger ones just because he seems like on that upswing. Maybe a Braun Breaker. Carmelo Hayes was in the U.S. Championship tournament this past Friday. It's this weird gray area where they have more NXT people featured on the main roster from time to time. At least it seems on the SmackDown side of things. But being Florida and NXT being based out of Florida, there could be a higher chance there of like, oh, let's get NXT talent in here. So I put Braun and Carmelo probably at the top. I put an Axiom and a Dragon Lee towards the next tier. And then maybe a Dijak. I don't know if Dijak would... Like, it'd be good. He would be good. I don't know if it would get the exciting pop, Wow, that was a hard P. Trying to think of somebody else. I don't know. All right, sorry. Back to the ladies. So let's go through the roster right now, and at least in terms of a return, who from the current roster on the ladies' side of things could make a return, make a buzz. I don't think any of our recent moms are going to be back, so I don't think we'll see Alexa Bliss. I don't think we'll see Carmella. I don't think either of them probably are ready. Also, let them hang out with the kids. Let them enjoy their time. So I don't think that either of them will be here. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Liv Morgan. Recently apparently arrested for some marijuana possession. I would have put her at the higher tier of like, yeah, if she's healthy, come back. Now, granted, in the terms of what you could get arrested for, marijuana possession, not on the higher end anymore. So I could see that being more of a slap on the wrist, like, hey, you got to be more careful about this, or whatever it is. I could still see it being a possibility. Just could have put a little bit of a twist and a red flag, yellow flag, whatever you want to call, on that return if she's ready to make a return. But seems like everything got settled. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Things going on there. Looking through the roster, who catches my attention from the ladies? Charlotte's injury once again. Dakota Kai. That's a question mark. I don't know where she's at with her recovery. I'd like to see Dakota Kai back in. Obviously, she's been on TV more as that speaking role, being involved in Damage Control. I don't know if she's ready to hop in the ring just yet. If she is, big thumbs up. If she's not, no worries. We haven't seen the Isla Dawn or Alba Fire, I think, wrestling sometime, so they should get in there. I don't know what we're doing with that spooky team. Should be doing more, in my opinion. We already got the fun surprise of Kyrie being back. That could have been a Royal Rumble surprise, but we decided to pull the trigger at Crown Jewel. So, hey, it's a win. Not a surprise, but a win. I'd like to see Lyra... Well, that's a skip. I'm skipping ahead to the NXT for a moment. I'd like to see Lyra Valkyria in there. Get the NXT Women's Champ in there. Have some fun. I think most... Raquel Rodriguez. She's been out. I don't know if she's in a storyline injury. I remember her last match was with Nia Jax. This could be a floor for her to make a return. Make a pop. Make a surprise. Other than that, I think that is everyone. I don't think Sonya Deville's ready to come back yet. I could be wrong. Trish has not been anywhere for a while. Maybe Trish makes a return since her loss to Becky Lynch in that steel cage match. Yeah. Okay. So, there's your main roster, folks, at least in terms of returns, who could be in there. So let's talk about NXT before we talk about those surprises. So we talked about Lyra Valkyria. Talking too fast. Be cool to see her as the NXT Women's Champ get a pop or an appearance in there. I think Tiffany Stratton is a higher probability. She's been crushing it down at NXT. I think a lot of people feel like she's ready for the main roster or going to get called up, especially with the recent feud with Becky Lynch. That being a helping hand there. So I think Tiffany's higher on the probability scale. Does Roxanne make another appearance? She was in last year's. There's a chance. She's in this weird area where I was like, I thought she was ready for a call-up. And then, nope, we're still doing stuff with her down here. So it's like, where are you in terms of progression, you know? Cora Jade recently made a return to NXT. I personally think she's very boring. So, in my opinion, wouldn't matter to me, but I could see it as a chance. Gigi Dolan's been doing main event tapings. She and Elektra Lopez had a match when I was there recently. Maybe. The whole Toxic Attraction thing kind of fell apart. So I don't know if the excitement is there. We got the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament recently. I don't know if any of those participants would show up. Not that they did bad or poorly or anything. I just don't know in terms of a wider audience if they're at that level of a big enough character, you know? I guess technically NXT, let's get Mako Satomura in here. I don't know where she is. She hasn't been around for ages since the NXT UK merger thing. Get her involved. Like, legend status? Come on. Just throw her in there once. Obviously doesn't have to run the table, but that could be fun. Nikita Lyons recently made her return this past Tuesday. Maybe. She's got to build back up her momentum. Yeah, I think Tiffany is the probably number one probable. I put Lyra at a 2, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, nobody's calling out. So let's talk about surprises. All right. I think we got, surprisingly for the ladies, and it's a good thing, I think we have more surprise potential for the ladies' Rumble than the men's Rumble. And maybe this is just my thinking, and once again, the free agency contracts, all that crap. So, big one. Everybody's talking about it with CM Punk's return. Does AJ Lee make an appearance in the Rumble? I think she's in Women's of Wrestling, or at least manages, or does some kind of backstage type stuff for them. So she might be more ring ready. I think that would be great. I know AJ was very popular with a lot of people, so that could be a fun one. throw AJ Lee back in there for a return similar to Punk after 10, maybe more years? No, maybe less. No, it's got to be more, right? That could be fun. Mickie James, recently a free agent from Impact. That could be another fun one. Obviously, last year she made the appearance doing the first cross promotion from Impact, being the Knockouts Women Champion, making that appearance. Was it last year? 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Vince was still in charge. 2 years ago. My bad. So having her return under the Triple H banner. Obviously, Aldis is there. Not that they can't work in different promotions, but that could be a perk of, hey, hubby's here, you know. Maybe a little bit more open with the conversations. Mandy Rose. What's the potential of Mandy Rose? I don't know. She seems like she's doing well with her, well, not side hustle anymore, her main hustle of the OnlyFans stuff. So, I don't know. Could get a pop because the Florida and the NXT relationship, you know, but who knows. I feel like there was someone else. Oh, okay. Now this one I can't speak too much about because I don't know much about the New Japan circles or the Stardom circles. There's been a lot of rumors about, or at least there were a bunch of rumors about Julia being an interest for Triple H. Could she make an appearance here? I'd say yes. That's another one I'm concerned of, like, I don't know how much of the WWE bubble knows about Julia. Once again, it's the Rumble, so you usually got your hardcore, the hardcores there. So they know a wide array of people. That way, when surprises do happen, you know, they get a reaction. Then from there, you kind of see from the week-to-week television and the town-to-town how the reaction goes. But that could be potential. If those discussions are still on the table, I haven't heard of any news of Julia since those rumblings. So there's a chance. It's just, I don't know. That would be, I think it'd be cool just because new people to watch, and I don't know anything about you. Show me what you got. Like that kind of stuff. That would be fun. And then, once again, elephant in the room, Jade Cargill. When does she make an appearance? Is she ready for the Rumble? Is she not ready for the Rumble? I feel like she has to at least show up just to be like, oh my God, you're still here doing things. I think this would be a good kickoff point for her. Obviously, maybe you want to do more of an entrance with her when she appears. Obviously, the Rumble, there's only really 2 positions you could do that for. Granted, AJ made his appearance at 3, so you could argue. But you want to have that stage of, like, time to make it that moment, I guess. But there's a chance. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. I think there's rumors of Deonna Purrazzo, but I don't know if there's time, like when her contract runs out. I think Jordynne Grace is still signed with Impact. From the AEW side, I think everybody's locked in. Yeah. So, I think big ones. I think Jade. I think that's a probable one. I really am hoping for Mickie James. I think that could be a fun one. And then I already forgot who my first one was. Memory's a bitch. But yeah, I think I would lean towards those 2. And I think Julia would be a fun one. Just because of the new factor, you know. I don't have any knowledge there. Oh, AJ Lee. Duh. Sorry. Wow. Like I said, memory sucks. So we got 4 good ones. I would say probability-wise, Jade's highest, then Mickie. Then it's probably a tie between Julia and AJ of like happening or not happening. But yeah, that one's got some fun possibilities, and the possibility of like who wins this. Currently, you got Io. It looks like Bayley would be the front runner there to take on Io. Rhea, on the other hand, I know Becky was a high talking point of like that was going to be the storyline. I honestly don't know. I don't know who wins this Rumble and walks away. Damage control still seems somewhat strong. I know we've been keeping Bailey a little bit on the outskirts here and there, but it doesn't seem as cut and clear as the men's side of storylines where these are going to go with these two ladies. I assume Rhea and Nia are going to fight at the Rumble, so that takes Nia out of things. Io doesn't have a strong contender lined up right now. Granted, you still got, 40 days. Things can change. I don't know if they would rush into the Bailey storyline at the Rumble. I think you'd leave that for a Mania thing. I guess that's another lady who maybe could make a splash, but again, I don't know contract details. What's Mercedes doing? What's Sasha doing? She was having talks with AEW, made the appearance at All In, or was it All In? Yeah, All In London. If you're going to believe the rumors of the internet, it seems like those talks have hit a snag. I don't know if she's currently signed for New Japan. I thought she was. Or one of those companies, Stardom. I don't know. That would be interesting. But I think that would be insane if they were able to grab Sasha again, or, lock something down with Sasha again. Absolutely insane. That would be the biggest surprise ever. Or one of them. I just don't know the percentage. What's the probability of that? Because I don't know about anybody. I don't know where anybody's contract lies. I don't know what their deals are. That would be absolutely nuts. It would be a shame because I know AEW is looking forward to that, and that would be a big W for them. They really need to invest in their women's division. That's a separate conversation, but that would be another oof, little step down for AEW, which I know it's been a little bit of a bumpy roller coaster recently, but we'll see. But yeah, who do you think is going to be in this Rumble? Who do you think is going to win? Both men's and women's and all that fun stuff. Who do you think is going to make an appearance? And let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, guys, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, a.k.a. Enigma9011, and you can join in on the conversation. You can just catch it live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. Drop a follow over there. You can join on the chaos with us, but if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show: likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, whatever it is, reviews. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Thanks for hanging out today, guys, for the two topics today. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Enjoy your holidays. Be safe. Enjoy your time with your family, time by yourself, traveling, whatever it is. Hope you guys have a good one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.